I can walk into a room full of people, talk to a few of them, laugh even, and still go home feeling like I was never really there. I don't think I struggle to meet people. I think I struggle to feel seen. You know that feeling when you arrive somewhere new? A new job, a new city, a new situation where you don't know anyone yet. And you tell yourself, this time will be different. This time I'll be more open, more present, more something. So you try. You join a conversation. You say something. Maybe it lands, maybe it doesn't. You laugh at the right moments. You ask questions. You do the things you're supposed to do. But while you're doing all of that, there's another part of you running in the background. Watching, monitoring, checking. Did that land? Was that too much? Are they enjoying this conversation, or are they waiting for it to end? You're not fully in the conversation. You're in the conversation and simultaneously watching yourself have it. Like being an actor and a critic at the same time. And the critic is rarely kind. And then something happens. Nothing dramatic. Nothing you could point to and say, there, that was the moment. Just a small thing. You say something, and nobody really responds. Not rudely. There's no moment of obvious rejection. Just, the conversation moves on without you. Someone else says something. The group laughs. The energy shifts. And you are still there, standing in the same spot. But somehow the room has reorganized itself, and you are no longer quite inside it. A small thing, barely noticeable. Except your brain noticed. Your brain noticed everything. This is where my head goes. From one ignored moment, which might not even have been intentional, to a whole narrative. They don't really like me. I said something weird earlier and they clocked it. They were already a group before I arrived. There's no space for me here. And the worst part is, I'm still in the room when I think all of this. Still standing there. Still nodding. Still performing presence. While inside, I've already left. There's a voice that comes with this feeling. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It just quietly confirms what I was already afraid of. See? You don't belong here. You never do. And I don't argue with it. Because part of me believes it. Has believed it for a long time. I've been reading about something called rejection sensitivity. The idea is that some people's brains are more attuned to signs of rejection, and when they detect even the possibility of it, they respond as if it's already certain. Not as a choice, not as weakness, as a wiring. The brain evolved in a world where being excluded from a group was genuinely dangerous. Belonging meant survival. Rejection meant being alone in the dark. And even though the room I'm standing in is perfectly safe, my brain does not fully understand that. It still treats a conversation moving on without me as a threat worth responding to. Which means that small moment, my brain didn't register it as a small, awkward moment. It registered it as evidence. And once the brain has evidence, it starts looking for more. This is confirmation bias. The brain, having decided I don't belong, starts collecting proof. The person who didn't laugh at my comment, the group that didn't invite me into their conversation, the moment I was standing alone while everyone else seemed connected. Selected, filed, kept. And the things that contradict the story? The person who did respond, the question someone asked me, The perfectly ordinary moments that meant nothing, but were actually fine. Gone. Discarded. They don't fit the narrative, so the brain lets them go. And then the behavior changes. I start talking less, engaging less, pulling back, not dramatically, just slightly. Because some part of me decides that it's safer not to try than to try and be ignored again. Here is the part that took me a long time to understand. When I pull back, people engage with me less. Not because they don't like me, but because I've become quieter, more closed, harder to reach. I've made myself smaller in the room without realizing it. And my brain looks at that reduced engagement and says, "See? Proof." The rejection I feared, I helped create the conditions for it. Not on purpose, not consciously. But I did. And the loop continues. The same pattern, different rooms, different people, same outcome. Until I start asking why. Because asking why is the part I kept skipping. It was easier to just leave the room, go home, tell myself it doesn't matter, wait for the next situation where I would try again and arrive at the same place. The loop doesn't break on its own, it just repeats. And every repetition makes the belief slightly stronger, slightly more certain that this is just who I am and how things will always go. I'm not going to tell you I've solved this. I haven't. I'm not sure it's the kind of thing that gets solved. But there is something that shifts, even slightly, when you understand the mechanics of it. Because when I'm standing in a room feeling invisible, my brain is constructing a story in real time. And it is a very convincing story. It has been convincing me for years. But it is a story the brain has told before. In other rooms, with other people, on other evenings that ended the same way. And some of those evenings, looking back, were not what the story said they were. Most people in that room are not analyzing me. They are thinking about themselves, their own awkward moments, their own version of the monitoring voice, their own evening they will go home and replay. My brain made me the center of a story where I was the one being quietly rejected. But I was never really the center of anyone else's story. Nobody in that room was watching closely enough to reject me. They were too busy being inside their own version of the same thing. Knowing that does not make the feeling disappear. But it creates just enough space between the feeling and the story I build around it. And sometimes that space is enough to stay in the room a little longer. Not to be the most connected person there. Not to suddenly feel like I belong completely. Just to stay. To not let the loop make the decision for me before the evening is even over. I don't always manage to interrupt the loop. Sometimes I leave a room and spend the whole journey home replaying every moment I wasn't quite enough. But I'm trying to get better at noticing when it starts. Not to stop the feeling. I'm not sure you can stop the feeling. But to recognize the loop for what it is, before it takes me somewhere I can't easily come back from that evening. Because the loop is not the truth. It is just the brain doing what it was wired to do. Protecting me from something that usually isn't even there. You're not invisible. You're just in the penumbra. And the penumbra is not permanent.